How's it going, guys? I thought I'd show you another one on detailing, and this time we're going to get right into it and show you how to make some cool snow. This is also going to show you some other things about how you can decorate the inside of a house using the same thing, and generally, yeah, how you can use some blending. So if you haven't seen blending already, it's a way of having multiple textures on a surface and bringing through different ones at different strengths. You can see they've used it on this building to turn that building into that building. Right, so we're going to make something simple, and it's going to be this thing that you see here. We're going to show you how to blend. The first thing I want to notify is when you press Y on the keyboard and bring up the patch editing options, is to make sure that you have alpha checked and that you have flatten checked, and then you're going to want to mess around with the amplitude and the inner outer radius, then to make sure you have the right axes set. So if we're working on the floor, you want it for Z. If we're working looking down the x-axis, and then you want to have X, and so forth. Let's get straight in. Select the brush that you're working with. In this case, I'm going to select this one. You just want to select the face of it. So you hold Shift and Control and click, and you can also select as many as you want. And then we're going to do Patch Terrain, Faces to Terrain, and what we've just done is, apart from here, is we have made a whole bunch of terrain patches. If we press T and we go to our textures, look for things that are decals. Yeah, so here you can see, like, it's a decal, one of those. And we're going to use snow, but you see if you click on it, it looks really weird. What we can do though, we can press Y and we'll bring up the advanced patch editing tools. We're going to flatten the whole texture back to brick. We're just going to make that radius huge. The next thing to note is make sure you're working with the right axes. Because we're looking down the X coordinate, we want to make sure that we have it selected on X. You see here, this blue thing here is your camera, and you see what way it's looking is going X, which is that way. You know, if you remember graphs in school, you have a graph like this and then X and Y, and so because we're looking along the X, we need to choose X. If you were looking along the Y, positive or negative, you want to select the Y coordinate. That's why when you're editing the floor, you have the Z coordinate. So we've raised up the radius. We're just going to bring it back to brick. You see how we did that? That was holding Alt and using left click. If we hold right click, you'll see that it brings the snow back. We're just going to go left click and right click, and you see how you have control over that. So we're going to make it brick. Then what we're going to do is bring the radius down a little bit. Then what you can do is we can just tap the right click a little bit like this, and you'll see how it's editing it. What you might notice here is that it's stronger here and it's less strong over here, and that's because of the vertices, and it always edits the area of the vertices that is connecting with the radius. So what we're going to want to do for this wall, and this wall is increase the vert count, and you can do that by going to patch and then go down to where it says double patch, and you might want to do that once or twice. That's probably all right there. Now when we select these, that's selected the brush, so you can right click, select the snow, right click, hold Shift and select the snow, right click, then hold Shift and select the snow. Okay, so now we're back here. We're going to use left click to put it all back to brick, and now when we go and make it snowy, you'll find that it affects the area about the same and it blends in better. So yeah, you want the right amount of verts. Also, if you're finding that it just goes bang straight to snow, then your amplitude is too high. So look, see there, it's like too strong straight away. So if we bring that down to about 0.7 or even less, you know, so maybe 0.5, we can just tap the right trigger and tap the right mouse button to bring the snow up. And the other thing you can do with this is, say we've made it look as snowy as we wanted, but we want some dirt on there as well. But what we can do is, if we just select the face by right click and select the face like this, and then copy and paste, Control C, Control V, and then what we're going to do is quickly get rid of the snow on that texture, so the face that we're working with is now blank. Look, I'll move it over here so you can see it's blank. Control Z to put that back. So now we've got an invisible texture. We can press T and we can go look for some dirt. So here's snow scorch. That's probably what we're after. So I've double clicked on there, and now we bring back the advanced patch editing tool, which is Y on the keyboard. We can start bringing this in, and you can see here that there it looks like it's been scorched. That is more of a burn mark. That will look great for areas near a fire, perhaps. Say you have a fire burning and you want it to look a bit more realistic, then add some scorched areas on the wall. So we're going to right click on there and go to the snow scorching, and we're going to undo a bit there, and yeah, that looks pretty cool. So nice. Now we probably want to put a model next to there, some sort of fire. So you could do what everybody likes to do for fires and have a barrel, but to be honest, they're so overused in zombies now that you want to go a bit crazy on it. You want to go online, see what makes fires, pallets, just broken up wood, small little random rubbish fires, shopping trolley that's got a load of stuff filled in it, or anything that can contain flammable objects and would probably be burnt in an apocalypse or used as a fire holding. Use that. But yeah, it is quite common to use barrels. So we're going to get this barrel, we can see the wall there, and put the barrel there. It's a good idea to also have something in there that's on fire, because a barrel's not just going to be on fire without any fuel for it. So let's go and look for some wooden planks for the fire. Type in plank. I don't know if that's going to work. Okay, well it did. So go down and have a look at this. Here we got some broken wood, and we probably want to rotate that up and bring it up like this. The next thing I would suggest is when you're working with this, you might want to have a patch in there with like an ash pile or something, so that they don't look like they're floating. There's two ways you could do that. You could create a patch like this and then do patch terrain, simple terrain patch, and then we'll do 4x4. Or the alternative is to make a cone and then dome it. Well, we'll start with the patch, and you can move the verts in like this. Move that vert in there, move that vert in there, and that one in there. The next one is to just tidy up the other verts, so like this. If you want to go super detailed, you might want to look into having more verts. When it asked us how many horizontal and how many vertical ones, and I put 4, maybe do a bigger number there. So we're just making it cover the whole area. There we go. That one could probably come across like so. The next thing we want to do is give it a dirt texture. So press T and we'll go to dirt, and there we go. Might want to do a natural on there, put it down like that, and press V, and I'm just going to bring those verts up a bit like that, and then going to put it down a bit more. Okay, the next thing is that is not a very ashy look. Play around with the textures until you've got the sort of look that you want. I'm not too happy with it like that, so I'm going to pick a lighter colored texture, then I'm going to edit it back to its original color like that. I'm also going to do natural on that. Okay, so I've done that. I feel like we need some more debris in there, so I'm just going to put that there. Although that's going through the wall, so there's two ways of fixing that. We could move all of this, which I'm going to do, or even rotate it. Okay, we've got some debris in there. You could go, add more wood, add varied wood. You see how I got the same piece of wood? That's not so great. You want to have different wood so it's not the same thing. And then when you have your fire effects going, so we're going to just throw some fire effects in there. Effects browser, and we'll go to fire, and we'll do like barrel, and so this sort of one here. See how we have that there. And the next thing you want to do with a fire is also have a light. So I'm going to press B, and we're going to type in lights. It's in the unsorted. I'm going to level it here, and you see the radius there. Drag down that radius like that, and you want to probably give it an orange glow. So you can press N, go over here and go to orange like this. Then you're going to build the light. But I haven't really worked with lighting much, and it's something I need to spend some more time on. I'm going to work on my lighting, and I'm going to bring out a tutorial later on when I have got it up to scratch. But for now, we'll leave that. So you can see now that the reason for the scorching there just looks a lot more realistic. We probably want to add the same sort of thing on this face as well. So we're going to do that, which is Shift and Control, and then we're gonna do patch terrain, faces to terrain, and then we want to do double patch and press V. And what I'm gonna do is just move those verts closer to the bin like that. Then you see how it's glitching about when we're moving. That's because the texture on there is not one that blends, and that'll be a problem in game. But it won't be a problem if we give it a blendable texture, which we're gonna do now. So let's go here and then type in snow, and you see we have the snow scorched. Let's press Y now. bring that in there. There we go. That looks much better already. And then you're going to want to add it to that little edge as well. Okay, so that's looking pretty cool. The next thing we're going to do is a hallway. So let's make a cool little hallway quickly. Okay, so we're inside this house and let's give these walls some textures. You're going to want to add things like side skirts. So we cut down the bottom like that. And then what you can do is bring that out a bit like that. Then maybe cut the edges off like this. There you go. All of a sudden it's looking more and more realistic. The side skirts are generally lighter than the walls, so you can probably change the color of the side skirt. Okay, so we need to decorate the inside, so we're going to select the wall with Control Shift click and then go to Patch Terrain, Faces to Terrain, and we want to add some verts in between, so we can go Patch and Double Patch. We're going to do Double Patch and we're going to do Double Patch, and now we have a lot more verts. You can see what we're going to do is change the texture and go look for a burn texture. Make sure that you're working with decals. So let's have a look at this. Bugging me that we're working with something that's too high up. So what we're going to do is just drag these down to the roof level. Okay, so we need to select this decal and press the Y tool, and we're going to bring it back. You see what it's doing here? That is because we're working with the X axis, but we should be working with the Y axis. Now we can work with this dirt and add it to the walls. So generally you want to think about realistic terms of things. When you're in a house, you might have a water system and where there are pipes. So if we quickly add a pipe in there, create a little thing here, patch primitives cylinder, and say that this cylinder is, so I've used shift and then square brackets to adjust the detail of that pipe. Say this pipe is running and you might want to add some curves on it and some tap ends and stuff, and we're going to press T and we're just going to change that to metal for now. Okay, well, you can play around with the different textures until you find a pipe that looks good, but say that there's a burst in it somewhere, so maybe we'll drag that pipe down like this and then go that and like this, and all the way around this. Mess around with it, make something that looks broken. I've only spent 3 seconds on that. You could spend 20 minutes making the coolest looking burst pipe, or maybe you find a model of something that's burst, or maybe you'll literally just have a fitting that is leaking. And now that we have this new patch here, what we're first going to want to do is move that line of verts closer to the pipe. So we'll press V and we're going to select those and move it along the X axis so it's behind the pipe. Now when we add the blending in, it's going to be near the pipe. So let's go and select that blend and press Y, then use Alt and add in some of this here, which looks like it's rotted the walls, and because of the water damage it kind of looks pretty cool. But you could add a lot more time into this, or you could use an even better texture, so something that looks water damage. So yeah, if we type in damage here and see how that one's doing that, it's because it's a detail. We need a decal. That doesn't look so good, but we're looking for something that looks like water damage. We could try something like moss, or maybe it's looking like that, and then right click, add it in a bit more around there. You can see now that it looks like it's really getting moldy. Remember, you can add as many terrain patches to the wall as you like, so you can have all sorts of different textures. It just makes it look that bit better, because in real life, you know, not everything looks perfect. In certain areas where the moisture gets to things, it will rot parts of walls, and this really shows it. And when you spend the time adding all these faces to your map, you can end up with something that looks totally awesome. And yeah, I just thought I would show you quick something. That is, I'm not proud of that one bit, that pipe there. It looks terrible. However, I'm just giving you an idea of what you can do. You know, you can mess around with patches and primitive objects to make anything from the real world into a game. You wouldn't just have moss there. There'd be a reason for the moss being there. Maybe there's a broken part of the roof and water's been getting in, then it's been rotting the floor, and then because you are working with the floor that's now wet, you could then, where the water's got in, you could even add in some water textures. So certain waters that work and certain waters that don't, so you want to be careful to use the right sort of water. Okay, first of all, let's get rid of the whole thing. So gonna do Z-axis and put it all back to concrete like so. Then we're gonna make a small area near that wall here that's actually the texture. Okay, we'll select the texture, and if you wanted this one, you could probably rotate it the other way around, that it's going away from the wall, and you might want it running down from somewhere. I don't think it's a very good texture to use, so we're gonna change that water to something else. Here, okay, so you see that it's got the reflection going on, although it goes through the wall there. We can see that the water's come down and damaged the wall. We can copy and paste that and use that water texture instead, and then tidy it up with some of these. One of the best places to be blending like this is going to be when you're working with cracked areas. So say we'll break the edge of this wall, so we're going to take this and we're going to cut it along there, and or maybe what we're going to do is cut along there. And I don't advise breaking things by cutting up brushes, because it doesn't look very good in my opinion. It just looks pretty tacky. The best way of doing it is working with patches, manipulating them around and stuff and making them look all broken up. And I did have a tutorial on that, but it got deleted because I didn't realize Twitch deletes videos after 15 days or something. Anyway, cut from there to there. So we have this area here, and then select these faces and do pat terrain faces to terrain, and then we probably want to select these bigger pieces. Okay, so I'm just going to hide that and this and this to make it easier for a second. So we just have the patches here, and we want to make these patches doubled, patch and double. We might as well do it again, double, so that they're all the same sort of size. You see all these triangles. We'll bring the other ones back now, and what we're going to do is change it to a cracked texture. So we'll go to T and we're going to type in, we want something that is a decal, so we're going to go all decals, concrete. Okay, so you see how this is small and everything like that. That's okay, and what we can do is leave that for the edges. And we want to get rid of these bits like this, and then you want to these brushes, you're going to want to do the same thing. Add some faces to these. We want to do faces to terrain. Right click and add the patch. So I'm holding shift to do select all of those. We want to change them all to that crackedness. Then we want to paint and add them into this area here. I'm going to select this brick and change it to the concrete. So press T and we want to change it to the concrete that we're working with, which is up here. It's not a decal, so we need to let concrete here. So that wall is now concrete. We can bring the other ones back and see it looks a bit weird, but we want to break it up more. Best way to select this now is just create something around it, and because there's so many things there, and then just do select inside and then just deselect the brushes from this side like that, and now we have all the patches selected. Then we can press Control C, Control V, and we've made a replica of them all. We can now go and add a different type of crack texture going on, but we want to set it back to decals so that we only pick decal textures, and now we can start adding some more detail to them. So yeah, starting to look a bit better, but not too sure about that one texture there. Anyway, you got the gist, and there's a lot of cool things you can do. You want to think about damp, you want to think about rot, you want to think about aging, the weathering, all those sorts of things that happen in real life, and then apply them to the objects in game. And it just takes a bit of time. When I'm showing you this, it's difficult because I'm trying to show you the concepts rather than actually just do it myself, because if I was doing it myself, I would spend half hour on each certain area, at least probably an hour making something cool, something custom. And there are so many different, like I've been typing pipe models that you can use. So we got pipe thing, this sort of thing. I don't know, well, this thing here, bring that out. Yeah, maybe like on this you want to create the face, and then around these edges have it so that it's just worn away, or it's water damage, or it's being damp from a hole that isn't quite working. Make sure that you use effects, so maybe you have some steam coming off these pipes, especially if they're out in the snow. And like if you're outside and you got pipes that are hot and running, then you have steam coming off them. And yeah, go online, look how things work in real life. You go on Google. Google is our friend, right? So pipe, damp, wall. See, this is the sort of shit I'm talking about. So we got rot in here, and then we got some more type of rot in here. We got some burning marks here, and this is all around the pipes because they're leaking. you know, and you even got it on the pipes. You could do that on the pipes. You could have a patch that you put over the pipes, and then you can add in some dirt, and you know, like this one here on the ceiling, this is water damage and some rotting, some mold from where upstairs it's leaked and then it's gone down onto the top edges, and you got some more damp coming onto the wall there. Or even here where it's like broken away the wall, you could do that with some patches and bring it around and stuff, and then it's like revealing some of the boards for the roof above, and you see how the light goes over it as well, so we've got the shadows cast over it. All these little things, and the cracks here, the cracks can be added in with another blending as well. So all these sort of things that you get in real life really add to the immersion and the detail in a map, and it's so much better than something that's perfect. So yeah, just work with blending, and yeah, it can sort it out. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this has helped you out. This is definitely going to make your map look a lot better. Just put some time in, and if you've got any questions, chuck them down in the comments. If you want to know anything more, then ask me down there. Like if you like this video, and subscribe if you haven't already, and take it easy, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya. Bye.